There we go. There we go. Okay. Let's see here. Move the chat window over here. Put that there. Turn on live chat. Cool. And everything is awesome. There you go. Hope you folks are doing well. It's been a minute, hasn't it? It has. It has been a minute. Sorry about how everything kind of turned out as far as that's concerned. It was a situation of I looked ahead on the calendar, and if I changed the schedule, it was going to bump into several more things, the next thing being Gen Con. So I was just like, well, let's try to fix that. So anyway, I hope you had a good near a month. So I hope that things have been good. Let's see here. Tomb of 3D printed horrors. Fat Dragon Games, how you doing? Sunday mornings just got better. I appreciate that. Dragonfire, morning from Quebec. How you doing? Fungazi, good morning from lovely Washington. Finally starting on Armageddon. Nice. Rodney, good morning from Yukon, Oklahoma. How you doing? Good morning from California. Michael Hazen, howdy. Feisty Crab Man, good morning from preheating Central Texas. Yeah, it's going to start getting warm here as of tomorrow. Like right now, it is a lovely 71 degrees, and it's been quite nice for weeks, but it's going to be in the 90s all next week. So, and I'm going to be gone a good portion of next week. So I have to make sure that my wife, I have to make sure to remember that the windows need to be closed, because then the AC will kick in. And if the windows are open, then, that sucks. So anyway, that kind of stuff. So let me see here. Going from lazy Quebec City, a do-nothing day today. Nice. Surprise Dragonflies, good morning. Pesler the Polychromatic, good morning from a rainy Saskatchewan. It's been a lovely April so far. I just wish June would start. I get that. Let's see here. Joseph, good morning from Cleveland. I am working on some cultists for Repent Ye Foolish Gods today. Nice. I'm going to be flying into Cleveland tomorrow, and then I have to go to Loudonville. I think it's Loudonville. And I'm going to be there for 3 days or whatever, doing stuff and whatnot, and teaching classes, and then I'm coming back. Lansing, Michigan, checking in. New Necromunda. Yeah, maybe. We'll see. I mean, obviously they did a thing on Friday. My video that's coming out this upcoming Friday is going to be about New Necromunda, which at that point it might be too late, but I had to film something ahead of time because I'm, again, going to be traveling. So, but I just wonder how new it's going to, they just were talking about, we're going to streamline it. It's tweaked. And I'm like, So I don't know. We'll see. I get the feeling they're going to tweak it just a little bit, enough so that, well, I mean, they've already said that all those books, that the Book of Avarice and the this and the that and all those different books for all, those are no longer valid when the new edition comes out. I'm like, of course not. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Good morning from Middle Tennessee. Just finished building my Galactic Empire starter box, and I am going to figure out a good paint scheme for Sand Troopers. Nice. Good morning from Western Virginia, assembling some WGA skeleton warriors. They are spindly. Any suggestions on strengthening those tiny connection points? Not really. I've never built the skeletons from Wargames Atlantic. I feel like probably plastic cement be the way to go, but yeah. But it takes longer to like set. That's always the issue. You know what I mean? Good afternoon from Ireland. I'm currently gluing bits of cardboard together and calling it Stargrave terrain. Nice. That's pretty cool. Good morning from Levittown. Have you heard about Wargames Atlantic's Colonial Suns game? Maybe, but not much. Good afternoon from Italy. Working on some OPR humans. Nice. I've got a bunch of OPR humans right here that are 3D printed that I'm going to start, when I get back, I'm going to start working on. Schedules are hard. It's all good. I appreciate that. Working on some frustrating GW terrain from rainy Pittsburgh. Yeah, I get that. Good morning from Italy. Plastering the walls of the basement while listening. Well, that's something. That's fun. Morning from Eureka, California. Buzz Regog, good morning. How you doing? DJ Todd P. Harris, welcome back. It's been an eternity. Well, it's been near an eternity. Let's say that. Hey ho from Scranton, working on my Repent Seps today. Nice, good to hear. Greetings from Delavan, Wisconsin. How you doing? Let's see here. Good afternoon from Kent, England. How you doing? Good time of day working on Space Marines and 3D printing my Sept for Repent. Very cool. Good morning from Orlando. Morning from Spokane. Working on some Emperor's Children Terminators while I listen today. Jay Robinson, yay, you're back. I am. I'm indeed back. Thank you. I had a kitty right here, but then she left. I don't know. She didn't want to be on TV. Good morning from Soggy and Sticky Central, Indiana. Custom painting up some Gunpla models for OPR. Nice. Good morning from New Brunswick, Canada. How you doing? Terrier Halo, how you doing? I am not starting an Armageddon because I don't think Armageddon is quite my thing. The world doesn't need to end quite yet. I see. Good afternoon from Spain. Going to work my first Space Marines army for OPR. Very cool. What's on the agenda today? I have to finish editing the video for next week, for this upcoming Friday. And I have to edit the podcast and the video for the podcast. And I also have to pack. And Vince and I have a meeting tonight like we usually do on Sundays. And we're going to discuss the game for Snarl, which will come out in November. He went away at some point on a little mini vacation this week like he does, he and his wife, and they go to some bed and breakfast that doesn't have Wi-Fi. And then he just sits and writes when she goes to bed. Many of our games have been written predominantly in this bed and breakfast, evidently. So let's see here. Hello from Boston, Massachusetts. Today I am magnetizing some Eldar jet bike weapons and 3D printing a bunch of 8-inch deep strike gauges for my gaming club. Well, that's nice of you to do. Currently racing the clock to build and paint miniatures and terrain for a library program where we're going to play Saurian Safari, a dinosaur hunting game. Nice. G'day from, excuse me, g'day from Sydney, Australia. Was building trench missionaries and painting Skaven. Very cool. Jesse, how you doing? Morning from sunny Milwaukee. Not looking forward to the temps this week. Hobby time then. Yeah, the temps are going to get gross. It's sunny here too right now, so that's nice. Good morning from gray and rainy DC area. Finishing some Chaos Knights for a Spearhead and Sisters Combat Patrol. Very cool. Tick, how you doing? I do indeed return. Morning from North Bend, Washington. Planning on doing the hobby side, but some IKEA underdesk organization assembly is in order first. I got I ordered on Amazon a very small standing desk. I don't know that I'm ever going to actually use it for standing, but just the fact that it's adjustable and it's also very small. It's like 32 inches across, like this way, by only like 19 inches deep. And it's going to fit right here is the plan. And then right over here, you can't see it, but it's going to be there. And that's where the little mini PC that I put Linux on and all that stuff's going to sit right there so that I can just turn 90 degrees and play Brotato right there on a 27-inch screen, which will be great. But yeah, so I'm going to see if I can convince my wife to build it because she likes to build furniture and stuff like that. She loves like IKEA and all that kind of stuff. She loves building all that stuff. It's like a puzzle and she's into puzzles. So while I'm gone, I'm going to see if she wants to put that together. I don't know. Maybe she won't. It's hard to say. Good morning from Central Wisconsin. How you doing? VJ Morph, howdy. Slayer Nuke, how you doing? Scranton, Pennsylvania, working on some DKOK. Daughters of Cain? No. Deathcore of Krieg, right? Yeah. Let's see here. Good morning from balmy Texas, listening in while mowing the yard before playing my first game of 11th. Nice. Greetings from Columbus, getting prepped for a game of Last Mile with wife for weekend birthday shenanigans. Last Mile. I don't think I'm familiar with that one. Good morning, working on Space Wolves Army Box. Nice. Greetings from Cleveland. Welcome to the Buckeye State. How you doing? I've been to Ohio before. That's where VinceyCon is. He's closer to Columbus. Good afternoon from way too hot Berlin. Having our first proper heat wave here this season. Yeah, like I said, we're going to get some of that this upcoming week. I'll be gone, but I think it's going to happen in Ohio as well. So it's Not like I'm going to miss it. I'm going to be indoors mostly, so it'll be fine. Jebbies, how you doing? Good morning, Uncle Adam. We made it to your convention. Got to play OPR version of Necromunda and demo a Wild West game. Caught Vince demoing your new game. We're hoping he'd run more. Yeah, I mean, on Saturday specifically with the classes that that he's teaching and Sam's teaching and Raven's teaching, that becomes a kind of a thing. In the future, we probably should try to run more. He ran another one on Sunday. Let's see here. Add some sprue goo to the joints maybe on the skeletons. That could help, yeah. Good morning from the other side of Lake Winnebago. I had a great time at my first TMX a couple weeks ago. Also testing out my resin printer for the first time today. Nice. Yeah, TMX did real well. We had more people show up to TMX this year than ever before, so that's pretty cool. And we had more vendors. I mean, it was still small. It was still maybe all told like 120 people, but usually we're like around 100 maybe. So 120 is pretty good. Going to have to make some decisions on if we try to expand the space next year. My concern is I don't know if there's like an easy way to expand like a little bit more, or if you have to go a good deal more and then that cost skyrockets and all that fun stuff. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Going to be honest, a consolidated Necromunda rule set is appealing. A book reset might make it easier for new folks to get into the game. You're not wrong. You know what I mean? The question is that how long will that book list be consolidated? So if they're going to have a new core book, and then instead of having 28 different books of the book of this and the book of that and the book of this for every different type of gang and whatever, I don't know if they're going to launch with these two books or if these are going to be a fast follow. I'm not sure, but there's going to be two books. There's going to be like the Gangs of the Underhive and the Gangs of the Outlands or the Outcast or something like that. So you're going to have one book that's going to be your Caudor, Orlok, Dalak, Van Sar, Goliath, Escher, those guys. Like the indoor people and then the outdoor people, the squats, the ash wastes dudes. I don't know about the corpse grinders, which book they'd be in, that kind of stuff. So that's the way that they've announced it so far, is that that's what you're going to get. You're going to have two books plus the core rule book. Now I've seen people online already who are like, yeah, but what about in 6 months? Are they going to be like, oh, we added another Gangs of the such and such, or because God, GW, man, they love selling them some books. Holy crap! So yeah, we'll see how it goes. Also, I saw somebody complain. Well, complain is maybe a strong word. I saw someone who was like, I don't think, because there was talk of balance, like, oh, they're going to balance the game, and everyone's like, do they need to be balanced? I'm like, well, that's a whole other question. That's I don't know. Hey gang, it's been donkeys since I caught a live show. Wow, donkeys. I hope everyone is well. I mean, it's kind of been donkeys since I've had a live show, so maybe there's that too. Hello from Denmark. How you doing? Best part with the new edition is that all the books are on clearance, and since we have the books, nothing is forcing us to move to whatever new stuff they put out. I mean, that's always the case. You can always just decide, if you've got a friend group and you guys play the game now, let's say Necromunda or any game really, and a new version comes out, if you just want to keep playing with your friend group, you don't have to upgrade. You don't have to do the new stuff. Totally true. Star Wars X-Wing. I could not think of the words. Star Wars X-Wing is a game that I still own, like the first edition version of, because I know that they had version 2.0, and I think there's even another edition. Well, now, of course, it's, they've shut her down. But if me and my friend Eric want to play Star Wars X-Wing, we just play Star Wars X-Wing because we still have all the stuff. You know what I mean? That's the benefit of this type of gaming, of tabletop gaming, The Grand Theft Auto 6 pre-order went online, and it was announced that if you decide you want to buy the physical copy of the game, you're just going to get a plastic clamshell box, and inside will be a piece of paper with your download code on it. You will not get a disc. And there's a lot of people losing their minds about that because they're like, well, then I won't be able to share it with a friend, and I won't be able to like sell it back to like GameStop or whatever for a nickel, and that kind of stuff. And I think that computer games don't do that anymore. I think that video gaming in general, that's just, you know what I mean? I think that that's a bygone era. And I think that I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying that I'm happy about it, but I think that it is what it is at this point. I think that the video game industry is like, yeah, you don't really, you don't really own this stuff. But then, I saw a T-shirt recently if like that said, if I don't own software, then I can't really pirate it, can I? Um, or something like that. Or if you don't own software, then it's not piracy, or something like that. I don't exactly remember the whole point, but yeah. Anyway, let's see here. Hey there from Rhode Island, watching while doing some overtime. Nice. Morning from a humid Tennessee, listening bored at work. Nice. Greetings from sweltering Luxembourg. Currently cleaning out and reorganizing my hobby room while printing a Bec de Corbin Warhammer head on my filament printer. Morning from Ireland, working on some terrain for Majestic 13. Very cool. We had our first game and loved it. Scratched the XCOM itch. Nice. And now there's an XCOM miniature game, I guess, coming out, I think. I swear I saw a picture of it. Morning from Ireland. Wait, I just read that. Hello from Denmark, rescuing old plastic Chaos Warriors for my new Nurgle army. Cool. Morning from Bremerton, Washington, working on my Star Wars Legion clone army and my wife's Empire army. Nice. I have I have most of an Empire army. Then they made it to 1,000 points, and now I need to add more, but yeah, we'll see. Good afternoon from Herefordshire. Going to spray and varnish some minis today. Who would have thought I'd have to wait for the temperature to go down for that? Yeah. Happy over the Sunday to you. How you doing, Motor Breath Jazz? Hello, hello. I love my standing desk. I would probably love it if it was. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like sitting, but yeah. Summer was mild in Wisconsin until the upcoming week. Yeah, this summer's been real mild and it's been real nice. And yeah, it's about to get sort of gross. So what are you gonna do? Going from Columbus, Georgia, going through my mountain of shame and deciding what I will build and what I will go. It is too much. Gotcha. Morning from the desert hellscape that is Arizona. Yeah. Howdy from North Carolina, about to head out to a Pride-themed Magic the Gathering Commander event. Very cool, very cool. I really enjoyed your video about the OPR starter box. Oh, good. I'm glad to hear it. Didn't even know they were producing stuff like that. This is why I love that channel, or this channel. Yeah, I think a lot of people don't necessarily. People just go, oh, well, it's, so many people are like, oh, it's just a game that's just an alternate to Warhammer. And we want, it's designed to be a different set of rules, but to still use your Warhammer models. And it certainly started that way, because I think way, way, way back in the day when Gaetano, when he first started it, I think it was called One Page 40K. So, but this is probably 15 years ago. And it was just this free download thing he was messing around with. And then changed it to one-page rules. And now they're really like they still want to make it kind of compatible with 40K, because they don't want you to be like, oh, I can't play this game because I don't have any models. Like, well, do you have some Space Marines, or do you have some Eldar, or do you have some Imperial Guard, or some, then there you go, boom. But they're also moving into, not only are they moving in, obviously, into making their own miniatures and things like that for the STLs, and now even in plastics, but they're also starting to put in armies that don't transfer across. Like if you look at, the Splizzards, the Space Lizards, the Saurian Starhost, there's no, there's Seraphon in, Age of Sigmar. How did I know that as soon as I started doing a live stream, one of my neighbors was going to start mowing the lawn? It's every 20 minutes, I swear to God. I think this guy mowed the lawn yesterday. I think he's doing it again because he hates being inside by his spouse. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh, right. So not only are they making their own models, but they're also starting to make their own forces. They've also got basically Skaven for their sci-fi game. There's both Skaven and Lizardmen in grimdark future. So now they just need to bring Necrons into Age of Fantasy. I mean, I guess they technically have undead. That's basically kind of a Necron. But they're doing a lot of different things too. So I'm going to have to try to close that down. So yeah, it's and the plastics, like, I know they're in stores. I mean, not obviously not every store, but if a store is interested, if it's a good store and they're paying attention, they probably have it. A guy that I know owns a store in Wichita, Kansas City. I forget where his store is. It's called Wizard's Alley, and he shared a thing on Facebook, 'cause we're like Facebook friends, and it was just like, hey, look what we got in. And it was just like a big pile of the Broken Truth boxes and the box that I showed off in the video on Friday. So let's see. Doing good, thank you, and I hope you are too. Well, I hope you are as well. Did you hear that GW mentioned Warcry during the stream on Friday? Apparently there will be a Warcry news on Warcom in the near future. The same was said for MS, or Middle-earth Strategy Battle and Underworlds too. I didn't watch the thing. I only watched the Necromunda part, but I did not watch the entire, hootenanny. Probably it'll just be another like, hey, look, here's a PDF for some stuff. And I don't know. It'd be awesome if they would decide to, start it up again, do something, pull some sort of trigger, do anything. But we'll see how it goes. Looks like it will be 60 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit all week. That's in the good summer temp range. You can still do stuff without dying. Yeah. Not painted anything for weeks and weeks now. Sometimes things are like that. That does happen sometimes, sure. May just be resetting the book cycle. GW loves to do it. I mean, if they're smart, they don't do that. If they're smart, they don't make a zillion books again, because one of the main complaints that I see from people who talk about Necromunda is like, good crap, there's a lot of books. You know what I mean? So if they could take any kind of advice from the audience, maybe not making a buttload of books would be a good idea. But, we'll see how it goes. Munda update and consolidation is long overdue. Well, I hope so. Let's see here. Wirehead, how you doing? Going from muggy South New Jersey, Matthew. Mordheim's still popular. There's only been one edition in 20 years. I mean, Mordheim's popular, but it's in direct spite of Games Workshop. Games Workshop's not doing anything to it. What Games Workshop is doing to help Mordheim is to not even think about it. You know what I mean? The one thing they could do, in my opinion, that would help Mordheim, that they won't do, and I've talked about this before, is to make a print-on-demand version of the book. They could go through Wargame Vault, and they could pay a junior designer on their staff about a week's worth of wages to take the current PDF of Mordheim that's floating around out there on the internet and has been for a long time, because it used to be a downloadable off of the GW website. They could take that and put each page into a page in an Adobe InDesign document, for example, and then make a printable version, upload it to Wargame Vault, and then people could buy a printed copy, that would look basically just as good as like a copy of Repent. And, it could be just soft cover with black and white insides like our game is, right? That's basically kind of to some degree what Mordheim was, but they could produce this. And instead of selling it for $22 like we do, because we're reasonable people, they could sell it for $45 or $50 or whatever, and people would buy it. And they literally would have to upload it and then not think about it anymore and just get checks from time to time. And by time to time, I mean every month. But they won't do that. Wizards of the Coast does it with old D&D stuff. Battletech does it with old Battletech stuff. Don't know why GW doesn't do it with Mordheim. They would be making money. They're literally just deciding to leave money on the table by not doing this. But that's their choice. I'm surprised the codices are going to softback in a slipcase. What codices? The 40K codices are going to softbacks? Is that true? in a slipcase? Why would they do that? Or is that from Necromunda? I guess I haven't heard of that. I haven't been paying a ton of attention to GW lately. Like I said, I didn't watch the preview thing because I was like, oh, whatever. And then I was like, oh, wait, they were going to talk about Necromunda. And then I had to scroll through it until I could finally find the Necromunda part. I hope Delac gets an official vehicle, but I highly doubt it. I'll keep using my Cadillac. Nice, nice. I hope they don't change any of the other models. I don't know why they needed to make new sculpts for Goliath and Escher, but whatever. It's, probably to sell the box, but I don't know. We'll see. Everything moved. Let's see here. Hello. What are you excited about in the hobby that is motivating you to paint or play? For me, old world minis and old style. For me, it's always miniature agnostic stuff. I always enjoy playing miniature agnostic games, and I enjoy building and painting miniature agnostic models for the most part. Right now, currently, I just finished on Twitch. I just finished some Mage Hunters. They're 3D prints from a sculptor named Saint Decent. She does awesome work. And so I've been painting those on Twitch for like a month or whatever, and I got them done. There's 6 of them. And then I'm not going to be on Twitch tomorrow because I'll be in Ohio, but I should be on Twitch Friday morning this upcoming because I'll be back from Ohio sometime Thursday. So that should be fine. And so, yeah, I always like to paint stuff like that. Currently, right now, sitting up here on my desk, because I've been writing lists, is a whole bunch of Human Defense Force models that my friend Dave over at Bottle and Spool, bottleandspool.com, he printed these for me, and it's been I based them all, and then I've kind of been working them into different squads for Grimdark Future Firefight, which is the skirmish version of their sci-fi game. And so once I get all my squads figured out, then I'm going to go through and figure out which of these guys need to be painted in which way, because I'm going to actually have 2 different main color schemes because I have so many of these guys. And so I'm going to have, to start, I'm going to have one scheme that's a little bit more military green, and then I'm trying to figure out what to do with the other one. I might go more of a desert color with those, but we'll see. But yeah, I got to texture all their bases and stuff like that when I get back from Ohio. But that's probably my next kind of bigger painting project. And then I also have models for, what's his name? Trench Crusade. I'm working on a group of heretic naval raiders. Crusade. I want to see if I can find. The Arena Challenge is what it's called. And it's a whole bunch of folks. I'm on the bad guys side. You can see me down there in the bottom. And there's Courtney, and there's Dave Taylor, and there's Tyler, and Amy, and a whole bunch of people. And then over here on the good guys side, you got Sam, and Phil, and Jake, and then Dave again. Dave's on both sides. And then a whole bunch of other people, some people from Army Painters, some people from Trench Crusade, some people from other places. What I am looking for, though, is that we've posted the first thing, and I would wish that there was a link. Here we go, the first models. So let's see. Mine is right here. So this was the first one that I did and photographed and all that kind of stuff. There are a bunch of, basically they're like, the bad guys faction, they're heretics, and they kind of live underwater. So, hence the naval raiders. And so, yeah, I've got another guy like this that's painted up. but he doesn't have the grenade launcher. He's got like a regular rifle. And then I've got a third guy that's got, I forget what he's carrying, but I have 3 more that are primed. And then I've got a bunch more that are, on bases, but need to be textured and primed and all that kind of stuff. So I've been doing that as well. But yeah, everybody's entered their first and the second one. The deadline's passed for the second one. So I've done my updating and all that stuff, or uploading to the folks. And so hopefully they will, I think the new article will come up soon, I think. But you get to see everybody, like some folks here, Thomas here was like, he's like a pro painter. Tyler has, won Golden Demons and stuff like that. But then there's like me, who mainly just paints on, tabletop. And then there's, let's see here. Well, Dave Taylor's obviously a winner of many big awards as well. But like Lassa here, I know he's like the video guy, or one of the video guys at Army Painter. So like, he's not a pro painter, but he's doing really great work. So it's cool to see, and like Amy here, like she's a copywriter at Army Painter. She's not I don't think that she was even a painter before she joined the Army Painter company, I think. Maybe she was, I'm not sure. But yeah, it's just really cool to see different people and like where they're at. Lyle over here for years was the editor of White Dwarf. For like a decade, he was editor of White Dwarf, and then all of a sudden one day GW was like, yeah, I don't think we need an editor for this magazine. And you're like, wait, what? And so they don't have an editor anymore, and so he doesn't work for them anymore. Now instead, he works for Army, or for Trench Crusade. They have their own like it's kind of like Warhammer Community, but it's called the Trench Wire. It's a website, and he's the editor of that now. So I really like the verdigris he did on his medals. I think that turned out really, really nice. I kicked around the idea of doing it, and I was like, but I guess my main thing was, I thought if these guys live underwater, they're probably not going to be using something that's going to like oxidize that much, but maybe, I don't know. Nonetheless, yeah, it's been fun so far, so that's cool. Alrighty. I'm not gaming. I showered and I'm wearing deodorant. Nice. I saw that the Aussie price for the new 40K edition box was like $500. I almost did a spit take. Yeah. Steam has family share. I've been playing my buddy's copies of Space Marine 2 for 300 hours for free. Oh, that's cool. I didn't realize that. It's not piracy. It's undocumented procurement. There you go. If buying isn't owning, then pirating isn't stealing. That's probably that would fit on a t-shirt better than what I said. Hello from Ireland. If you were picking across a broad spectrum of miniatures, what would you choose for Repent? If you're looking for cultists, I would just tell you to go look at the Frostgrave models, Frostgrave cultists. There are, oh gosh, a whole bunch. North Star military figures. Oops, sorry, I keep clunking the mic over here. One day I might get the hang of this live streaming and all that stuff, but maybe not. So, come on, there we go. So yeah, the Frostgrave cultists are spectacular, and they've been around for a good long time. And now there are 3 other boxes of Frostgrave cultists. So this is Frostgrave cultists, the first box. It's awesome. But then there's also Frostgrave cultists 2. Here we go. So these are all lady cultists. So you got some representation there, and that's pretty cool. And then there's Frostgrave cultists 3, which are just like generally just really weird. Like they got a lot, like one of the guys has antlers. There's like a bunch of crazy crap going on. And also you can't really see it here. Oh, no, maybe you can. So, you got, pole arms and sickles and knives and daggers and axes. And is that a chainsaw? Yeah, that's a chainsaw. Not sure why, but they threw a chainsaw in there. Why not? So, so yeah, that's fun. And then the newest one that's come out that I don't have yet, I keep meaning to order it, but I haven't, is called Cultists 4. Nope, it's not. It's called Cultist Knights. which is what it is on the tin. It's basically if you want cultists with more armor. So they're more armored cultists, cultist knights. So I would tell you if to basically kind of start there in many situations, and you can either find these pieces. If you don't want to order them direct from North Star, which is what I usually do. If you don't want to do that, sometimes you can find them on eBay. Better game stores will carry this stuff, but a lot of game stores, frankly, don't. But yeah, there we go. XCOM minigame pre-orders in July. Nice. Hope they fix the background in Necromunda book where they have the black text on dark gray. Yes, I do too. I think the newer like gang books did seem to dial that back, and hopefully they do it even more on the new stuff. Absolutely. Because yeah, it was very difficult to read because it was and like I'm always concerned about that with our books. Like just before we went to print on Repent, I went in and Photoshop, and because like there's I have this like paper texture that I put around like in the corners and stuff like that, and there's just the slightest amount of it here, but I don't want it to fight with the text. But I was concerned that up in these two corners, this corner and this corner, that it might, so I lightened them up in Photoshop before print, and it's fine. I didn't even necessarily need to do that. But sometimes it's hard to tell, with print densities and things like that. I could look at it on my screen and it looks fine. I could print it out on my printer upstairs and be like, oh, that's probably fine. And then it comes back, the proof, and you're like, ugh. So, it's hard to tell. Lots of Washingtonian and Irish watchers this week. Nice. Working on my Kill Team starter set, Space Marines and Plague Marines. Cool. Hi from Lompoc, working on Corsair. Nice. Hello, Uncle from Seattle. How you doing? Modifius is making the XCOM game. Yep. Did you hear about how Tabletop Simulator Force Org got nerfed? Did you hear about how Tabletop Simulator Force Org got nerfed? I don't know what that is. I mean, I know what Tabletop Simulator is. I don't know what Force Org. I know what nerfing means. The only thing I heard was that GW like did a cease and desist against a bunch of like 40K like modules. I don't know what they're called, and I don't enjoy Tabletop Simulator. There's something about the game itself, the UX UI, the user experience, user interface, all that stuff. Even the font, I don't like the logo, but that's me. That's a personal problem. But yeah, I've used it before. I've used it to play a miniature game once. Malev, maker of Demon Ship and most recently Great Helm and stuff like that, he taught me how to play Relic Blade back during the pandemic on Tabletop Simulator, and it's just the weirdest interface. But the only thing I've heard is that GW did like a cease and desist against people who are doing that, and I get it like a little bit. I mean, I'm not saying that they're right. I'm saying it does not surprise me that they're doing it. Let me put it that way. I'm sure that they're like, well, it's a trademark issue and this and that, but they just don't want people playing the game without buying their expensive miniatures. That's just the straight up fact. So, yeah, I don't know. I think that if you're just really, 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 really just absolutely dead set on playing Games Workshop, then you have to accept that you're probably either going to receive a cease and desist or you're going to have to open up and dump out your entire wallet. You've got two choices in general, you know what I mean? And you have to kind of make peace with it, I think. But yeah, hello from Poland. Do you plan to review new BattleTech core box when the release in August? Probably not. I don't really play BattleTech. I like Alpha Strike, but regular classic BattleTech I haven't really. Like I played it a long time ago. It was my first miniatures game when I was in middle school, like 7th grade. But the regular normal BattleTech is too much for me. I'm not smart enough. So I generally, like I said, prefer Alpha Strike. I talked about the cool like solo thing that they did, Aces and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I don't see myself necessarily talking about the new thing. I'm vaguely curious to see how much they're changing it, because BattleTech has always been one of those games that kind of has barely changed in 40 years. So it'll be interesting to see how that's going. But yeah, OPR video this week was all sorts of goodness. Very cool. Well, I appreciate that. Good evening from Western Australia on a hobby drought at the moment. Really feeling the need to paint or play. Have you been playing much lately? I have not had the chance to play much lately. Actually, I saw Sam last evening. He had a show at his band, which is called Corporeal Ooze. You can find them on Bandcamp, I believe. But yeah, they had a show here in town at this place that's right next to the Reptile Palace, which is where if you come to TMX on Saturday nights, there's usually like a trip to the Reptile Palace, which is not very far from the convention center. Right next to that is this little tiny venue called the Jam, and there's a lot of punk bands and stuff like that that play in there and whatever. So and metal bands and all kinds of stuff like that. So yesterday there was like, I don't know, 5 or 6 bands, but Sam's band was first, so it was like 6 o'clock in the evening. And so I went and took pictures and like just kind of hung out and stuff like that. And after the show, I basically watched equipment while they brought it out onto the street so they could put it in their cars. As a person who has been in a band in the past and knows a lot of people in bands, I've heard about stuff walking away. Like you're taking stuff out of the bar to set it out on the street and get more stuff so that the next band can get in and set their stuff up, because you don't want to be in their way. And then someone's guitar walks away, right? So basically my job was to stand there and scold anybody who tries to steal anything, which was fine. I offered to do it because it makes me nervous when I set stuff outside and then go back into the building. I don't know. So I was just like, I'll do that. Anyway, we were talking about it, and we need to play some Trench Crusade anyway for that arena challenge thingy or whatever it's called. So yeah, we're gonna probably be doing some of that soon. And I also want to, once I get a bunch of these Human Defense Force guys painted up, I want to at the very least start a Star Quest, I think, solo game, and maybe see if Sam wants to play like a co-op. We could do that too, maybe. Good morning from Albuquerque. Working on cleaning up and clearing out my hobby space today. My least favorite thing to do, but it's got to get done. I'm way more productive in an organized space. Gotcha. If it helps, we can't hear the lawn mowing. That's good. It could be the microphone just, doing its job, because it has some sound or noise cancellation, I think. But yeah. Let's see here. Sprats added to Splizzards. I think a battle of the Sprats and the Splizzards would be a great. That's not a bad idea. I should print out some. Or I should have Dave print me some Sprats. I 3D printed an entire Imperial Knights list that I'm playing as Titan Lords for the first time in OPR Grimdark today. Wish me luck. Well, good luck. Absolutely. I have a neighbor that escapes his wife and kids by riding his lawnmower around every afternoon. Dude needs a hobby. Yeah. Wizards Alley in Wichita. Make the driver. There you go. Okay, yeah, Wichita. I couldn't remember if it was Wichita or Kansas City. But yeah, Bam, Brian Hunter is his real name, but Bam, I've known him on and off for years. I haven't seen him at a show in a minute, but yeah, we used to see each other at conventions quite a bit. Happy time of day to you. Hope you and yours are well. Same to you. New Chaos Warriors for Old World. Whoops, I clicked and then it's screwed up. Right, there we go. New Chaos Warriors for Old World I want for various reasons, but if the rules for the skirmish Old World look decent, maybe I'll give that a spin. So a skirmish Old World? GW is a book company more than a mini company these days? It seems like it. Army Painter 7-color faction box. Yeah, good move, especially for the new painter. Yeah, they're calling them Combat 7s or something. Yeah, these things. So basically what it is, it's a box that's got 7 paints in it, and they just have different sleeves. So, whoops, hang on. Go back. Come over here. Stop it. Yeah. So it's like the inside box is the same on all of them, and then what they put inside is different, obviously. And then there's this cardboard sleeve that goes around it. This one says monastic. Stop it. Monastic green relic armor. How do I pause this? No, you don't? You just, I guess you don't get to. Okay. Haha. So anyway, monastic green relic armor. Well, we know that that's Dark Angels. And then, we've got this one over here is like basically Necrons. And then, so you've got these different things that you can do. And the idea being that a 7-pack like this is a good place to start, because what you can do is you can, like that plus black and white, you're going to have a good portion of what you're going to need. If you just determine that your color scheme is like, well, yeah, but it'd be also nice if I had this and this, well, you could pick up a couple extra bottles. You buy this box, and if you hopefully already have white and black, in my opinion, the best is to have the starter box, which I still think to this day is the best starter box in the industry. The Army Painter starter box is like $43 and change, and it includes, well, hang on. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. All sets and bundles, please. Starter box, starter box, starter box. Where are you? Fanatic starter. Yeah, $43.19 American. Come on, there you go. And what you're going to get is black, white, brown, blue, green, yellow, red, silver, gold, brush on primer, and strong tone, which is like a brown wash. You also get a brush, and you also get a miniature. So literally all you need is maybe a piece of paper towel and a cup of water. That's pretty much all you need. And and you also, it comes with the painting guide, which the painting guide is actually really, really nice. There's a lot of good information in there if you're a beginner or whatever. So this is a great set, in my opinion. This plus a Combat 7, let's say you're like, I'm going to get into Necrons. You do this one and the Necron Combat 7, and you have everything you need to do that. Are the Combat 7s under sets and bundles? I don't know. Oh, shop now, Combat 7s. So, Sanctify, no. Auric Gold, no. Monastic. Awakened Ancient Alloy. So if you had a starter box and then you had this thing for $30, it's going to give you the cool green data system glow. It's going to give you some other greens, a couple different types of silvers, rough iron, some more washes. So you're going to get dark tone and strong skin shade, and you're going to get strong tone in the starter box, and you'll have white and black and the other colors, and then all of it. And so, yeah, it's a smart move, I think. Now, the fact is that if I'm perfectly honest, you can look at all of these and go, okay. I mean, they're showing pictures here. They can't call it the Tyranid box, but they've got a picture of a Tyranid there. You know what I mean? They can't call it the Custodes box or whatever it's pronounced, but you can see what they're doing. So, it makes sense. But there's some, like, I don't know what that is. Who is that guy? I don't know what that guy is. Is that Trench Crusade? Industrial field gear. I don't know. But, you have these different options. And sometimes they even, like this one's got 2 of the Blanche colors in it. It's got Ironclad Gray and it's got Grimdark Shadow. So those are from the John Blanche series, and they're in it. Now, some of these are also online only, but other ones are available. Like these last 4 are currently online only, and the Industrial field gear is sold out. That's weird. And they shouldn't be sold out for very long because, again, it's just the normal paints. They just have to put them into the little sleeveys. Oh, there's some other online-only ones here. But some of these are available in stores. So, like, the Field Gear Green, if you're getting into, Imperial Guard, this is going to cover a whole bunch of stuff that you're going to need. You'll be fine. So it's a neat system, and they've just kind of announced it recently. I don't have any of these, but I have all the paints already, because that's the thing too, is that none of these are new paints. None of these are like, oh, this is like a special unique paint. They're just taking paints and putting them into bundles, and then, because you're getting 7 paints for $30, which is it's just slightly less than $3 a paint, right? Wait. No, I'm dumb. $30. I'm very bad at math. Hang on. 7 times 3 would be 21. So 7 times 4 would be 28. So it's still cheaper than retail, because retail on these is like 450 or 475. So you're getting a little bit of a savings, I think. But anyway, did smoke come out of my ears when I tried to do math? Because that's normally what happens. I was very excited to see Exodites getting some models. Still don't care about Kill Team, but boy, am I stoked on those models. Those are the guys riding the dinosaurs, right? Let's see here. Looks like you can buy an updated with errata Necromunda rulebook and one or both faction books. Also, the gang boxes are coming. Yeah, the gang boxes are well, they're technically, they call them crew boxes. So the gang boxes generally cost about $53, and it's like Orlok gang or Van Sar gang, and it's like, I don't know, 7 or 8, 9, 10 models, somewhere in there. And then these new crew boxes are going to have like that set in it, plus another set that also costs about $53. And then it looks like maybe there's going to be an extra like weapon sprue thrown in as well. So it'll be interesting to see how they price these. A little bit of a quick, a little bit of what's going on in my video for this upcoming Friday is I'm like, I bet they won't be $106, but then I was like, yeah, but they're also throwing in an extra sprue or whatever. It says that they're throwing in a weapons upgrade thing, which makes me assume, because the weapons upgrade sets are about $30. So we now go to $136 roughly. And the question is, or are they going to do a stealth price hike and go, hey, look, it's 150. And then you're like, wait. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Let's see. 11th edition new 11th edition Orc Codex is soft cover with slip cover. I wonder if they changed their printing company, because I'm pretty sure all the codices have been printed in China for years. And I think that they're trying to make it so that they're heading closer to Europe again, just because of, shipping and all the other things. So that's interesting. But yeah, soft cover with they could also just be trying to save money, because if you look at the box that they announced, the core set box for Necromunda, the board in there is not a board, it's a piece of paper. It's printed on both sides. It's double-sided, but it's a mat. It's a paper mat, which it'll be interesting how much they sell it for, right? Like in the OPR box that I talked about on Friday, that box comes with a paper mat, but it's also a $120 box with two, 800 to 900 point armies in it. This is going to be a box with roughly 16 models in it, a little tiny bit of terrain, if the pictures are to be believed. Hang on, I've got this all up here. There. So Necromunda. So here's the models. That's the box. They've changed the name of it. It is now called Warhammer Necromunda Skirmish, which is interesting. But, this is the core set. And it looks like I said, I think it comes with roughly 8 models per side. So you got these ladies, right? Those are cool. And then you got these big dudes, the Goliaths. Yeah. No, I prefer like literally every other gang versus Goliath and Escher, but they're always the launch ones, which is weird. But yeah, otherwise I'm much more into Caudor and Orlok and Van Sar. Those are my probably 3 favorite ones. But you're going to get tokens and dice and, yada, yada, yada. It doesn't look like they've changed the dice much. You've still got the same type of dice. You got the same templates. This is the type of terrain that's in there. And then there's going to be a box that's sold that has fancy terrain and the cards separately. And here's the books. Those look hardcover. You can tell from the way the binding is. So at least these will be hardcover. And then, they don't have the pictures of the crew boxes. That's stupid. They do in the video. Anyway, but this thing that they're on is not a board. It's a sheet. You can see in the video, it is like a thin sheet. And it'll be interesting to see if they sell this box for cheaper than $250. But I don't know. New codex for 40K will be perfect bound. That's weird. Like they used to be perfect bound way back in the day. Perfect bound, for those of you that don't know, who maybe have never worked in printing, this is a perfect bound book. Whoops. I'm a moron. Okay. This is a perfect bound book, which is to say soft cover, but it's this binding, right? So it's basically glued, and like, you know, the different signatures, that's the different sections of the papers and stuff like that, are glued into here, and it's called perfect bound, right? So this is basically what the new codices will look like going forward. They will have soft covers and this type of binding. Now the question is the price going to go down? I bet not, but we'll see. Let's see here. Howdy from Indiana. How you doing? If Warhammer wasn't so expensive, I would definitely buy the new Chaos Warriors from Old World. I could definitely kit bash them from other games. Sure. I was looking at the arena challenge thingy. Nice. Yeah, it's neat. It's cool. Like they did a thing like this last year that wasn't called a, I don't remember what it was called. Maybe it was called Arena Challenge. I don't remember what it was called. But I didn't get involved last year because it was basically a, what do you call it? It was a, like, escalation league for 40K. So you were like building up an entire army, and I was like, I'm good. I get the feeling putting some Eldar minis on toy dinos would be cheaper. If anyone is interested in Mordheim and are near Southern California, there's a regular club that plays a lot. They're a very welcoming group to new players. You can find them on Discord. Nice. I have 2 decent LGSs near me, but no Mordheim interests. I've never played Mordheim, but the new gutter runners look amazing. Oh, they'd be great for that. Yeah. I'll buy them in the excuse of one day I will play Mordheim. There you go. Those naval raiders are killer. I've been painting my Prussians as Cadians. I'm trying to, I'd like to try something like that. That's cool. Have you been to the Midwest Mini Swap? I have not. No, I don't know where that is. Is it in Minneapolis or something? Hello from Madrid. This couple of years I've been disconnected from the hobby due to job and other problems. You have always been an inspiration to me. Well, that's very nice of you to say. I hope it helps. Let's blame the desk. You really clunk the mic on the Nerd Bunker. Well, the Nerd Bunker mic is technically on an arm. Like it's attached way over there, and then it's like on an arm. And I still clunk that sometimes too, but I do it with my hand. In this situation, like the mic is on a desk stand, and I only have so much room on my desk. And when I move the mic, or not the mic, when I move the mouse around, if I move too far to the left, I clunk into the mic. So sorry about that. Let's see here. My local store just got in the OPR boxes and the hardcover Grimdark Future book. It makes OPR feel official now. Exciting stuff. That's very cool. I don't have the OPR book yet. I should look into that. They have Cultist Knights now. Yep. Male version of the Cultist 2 aesthetic, since it was so different from... Well, because Cultist 1 was dudes and Cultist 2 was ladies, and then Cultist 1 was kind of dudes again, but just like weird ones. And then there's Cultist Knights as well. Anyone happy about the new version of Necromunda? Because I'm not. I'm done with GW business practices. I guess we'll see. They keep saying about how it's like streamlined and this and that, and I guess we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. I'm definitely not going to be like the sky is falling, or because here's the deal. I'm not going to be the type to say the sky is falling because I don't currently play Necromunda. I've wanted to play Necromunda for a long time. I've been buying the models and using them for other games for a long time. I used to watch Necromunda when I was like first going to Gen Con, when it was back in Milwaukee, way back in the 90s. I would sit and watch Necromunda games because they were so cool. And then I wanted to get into it, and I owned books and all that stuff. And like I said, most recently I built a Caudor, like an entire Caudor gang was going to play with Raven and Sam. And I just bounce off the rules because they're just so dense. There's so much there. That's me, though. People who love the rules I could see them not wanting them to go in and streamline things too much. I personally don't think they're going to streamline things too much. They've said they're tweaking, they said they're streamlining. I think that their idea of streamlining and my idea of streamlining are not necessarily going to meet. So we'll see how it goes. I really honestly feel it's just a situation to get, well, let's get people to buy some more books. So I would have to look at the rules of the new Necromunda. Same here. Yeah. Because here's the deal. If it turns out that I still don't like the rules and they're too much, okay, well, I wasn't playing it anyway. I'll just continue to play other games and keep using those models because they're awesome models. And it looks like they're going to continue to keep making the models. They've showed new sculpts for Escher and for Goliath, but there's no new sculpts for anything else. And honestly, I don't think they need new sculpts for anything else. I love the Delac stuff. I love the Van Sar stuff. I love the Kodor. I love the Orlok. All those are awesome. I've never been a big fan of Goliath or Escher, so making new sculpts for that doesn't really affect me. But yeah, watching on delay. It's always, conversation is always on a delay. Like, because I answer questions, I get very behind in the chat. So just FYI. Blitzbowl mods for Tabletop Simulator are really good. I play that mostly more than live these days. I wonder if they're getting cease and desist as well. I really can't enjoy playing anything on Tabletop Simulator. I'm with you on the font choice. It's stupid, but I'm like, oh God. I'm very nervous about new Necromunda. GW keeps using the word streamlined, and if I've learned anything from modern 40K, when that comes from GW, it's a bad word. It'll be interesting to see how drastic it is, like I said. I don't know that it will be super drastic, but we'll see. Tabletop Simulator is cool, but kind of resource hungry. Having physics probably doesn't help. Yeah, that's a good point. And there's no community standards for modules, so they can be all over the place in terms of resources. I've assembled the damned army box and Mauler. Like how they look. I've gotten my damned army box. I actually assembled... I haven't assembled anything from the new army box yet because I still have the Game Found set. The big sent me I did the Game Found and I got a big cardboard, brown box full of just loose sprues, basically. And I'm going to do a video about the army box because I went and then bought the army box so I could do a review about it, even though I already had basically everything that's already in there that I did in the Game Found. But I'm like, well, I can always use more because they're awesome. So I've done some kit bashing recently, and I'm going to talk about that in the view. But yeah, I wanted to have the box so I could be like, this is what it looks like, and here's what's inside, that kind of thing. But yeah. It's all wet and gloomy here in the pocket dimension. Well, that's a bummer. Hello from Anadarko, Oklahoma. Just here looking at the new game info. What game? Which one? So is this like a Roman triumph where you have a servant walking with you and whispering, "You are not a god" in your ear? I mean, Maggie was over here before at the very beginning, but then she left just before we started. So yeah, but she does that all the time. What's your favorite sorcery spell in Repent? Let's see here. Yeah. Come on. Apocryphon of Divine Imitation is a great title, but I don't know that it's my favorite. I don't know that it's my favorite actual sorcery. Honestly, Resurrection's pretty tight. Choose a single friendly model that has been put out of action during the game and is not currently in the game. If the spell is successful, set the model up within 3 inches of the caster. The model is returned at 1d6 plus 4 life. And this cannot be higher than their normal maximum life, as long as the model is not out. So being able to bring back someone who got killed is pretty strong. That's a drag that Necromunda will get new books, but I feel like there's so much that has been scattered around. It kind of has, yeah. If this consolidates things without changing the rules too much, maybe good. Maybe. But I'll reserve judgment, indeed. bought the Army Painter starter set. I've been quite happy with it. Nice. That's good to hear. The 7s sold out pretty darn fast at our local place, unsurprisingly. Well, that's cool. Combat 7s, neat idea. I think so. The name is a little like most people get it. I think with the 7 in the word there, I think most people get it. I'm interested in Battle March. It's going to be like Spearhead. I've not heard of Battle March. No. It's supposed to be smaller Old World. No kidding. Oh yeah, I didn't watch the Old World stuff. I'll have to go back and take a look at that. Is there no overlap between the basic starter set and the 7s? I think some of the 7s have strong tone in them, but otherwise, I don't think so. It's never just dinosaurs. You have to say, dinosaurs. Sunday is a good day for live streams. Terrain Tutor is streaming this after as well. Nice. Paperbacks, I bet not price reduction in equals shrinkflation. Yeah, exactly. If they still charge as much as they charged in the last edition for these, but they're in paperback and not in hardcover, then that's absolutely shrinkflation for sure. Weird thing is the Orc Codex is soft cover with slip cover, but the new Exodite Kill Team book actually looks like it's hardcover in the promo photos. I mean, it could be screwed up in the promo photos, but also the thing is that a lot of this stuff, like there are different like design studios that all work within GW doing different products. And also nearly everything we see got started at least 2 to 3 years ago. So there's that as well. So yeah. The Necro starters had paper mats for the last few boxes. They've never had boards. Well, they had a board there was a board in the 2017 box, wasn't there? I guess maybe I haven't looked close enough at the most recent starter. I didn't, like there was the one where that was in the part of the hive that was all ruined and you had the Van Sar guys with the weird, yeah, I don't think I have a copy of that. So there's that, but I'm assuming also that it's just a cost saving thing. I'm wondering if they're like, well, people don't, people who play this already have their own terrain, but they still are like, we need to cover our butts by saying, well, you can play right out of the box. Yeah, here's this piece of paper you can play on. Have a good time with that. OPR 2-player set is a sick deal indeed. Ultra Pro is selling a 30 by 22 neoprene mat branded with Warhammer, approximately $30 at Miniature Market. Huh. So that must be for like, you could use it for, depending on what it looks like, you could use it for Kill Team, you could use it for Warcry. I mean, a lot of our games are 22 by 30, just FYI. Talking about costs, I just bought my first Stargrave sprues. Hot dang, but it's a throwback to the good old days of reasonably priced figures that you can kit bash without having to earn a degree. Yeah, no, for sure. Between Stargrave, Frostgrave, stuff from Wargames Atlantic, like their stuff is all awesome and also works together. Some of the kit bashing that I've been doing with the Damned models from Wargames Atlantic has been putting Stargrave stuff on them or even Frostgrave stuff. It's just really easy. They all work together really nicely. I'll just get my GW Minis secondhand or third-party proxies. Their prices have become simply outrageous. Who is this hobby for anymore? I know. You know what I mean? Like, what was I just looking at? It was, what's her name? Ursula Creed. I was at this local store and Ursula Creed, who's in Armies of the Imperium, Astra Militarum. So Caiaphas Kane's going to be $48. Whatever. Where's Ursula? Here's Ursula. Boom. Here we go. Ursula Creed, one lady, $48. Right? So you get this one lady, $48. Cool sculpt, and you get options. You know what I mean? Here she is, looks like holding a Crozius and a power sword. She also has a cool helmet if you want to. That might not be a Crozius. I don't know what that is. But she has other options too, I think. Crozius, different head, power sword. Or maybe she doesn't. I thought she had more options. Anyway, there she is, $48 for one person. Or if you spent $5 more, you get 10 models. It's just weird. It's just weird. I don't get it, folks. Pictures of the crew boxes are at the bottom of the article? I must have. All right. I'm either Orlock or Delock, but mostly Kit Bash, and I'm going to stock up before the price hike. Yeah. I think if I'm smart, I'm going to go to I just actually picked up some stuff recently from my local shop. I picked up from Flying Phoenix some Necromunda stuff that he had. What did I get? They are more other games. Necromunda. Shop all. They are not the regular gangs, but it was like they're part of the Palanite guys, but they're fancy. They're not the Subjugator Patrol. They're like even fancier than that. These guys, I picked up the Justicars just because I'm like, these guys are pretty dope. They have cool helmets. I'm going to kit bash them and do other weird stuff. Like, I don't exactly know what. I'm probably not going to end up using them in Necromunda, even if I decide to get into it. But I guess it's a slim possibility. But like, otherwise, like all this other stuff in here is just dope, and I could do some really neat crap with it. So yeah, I picked these up from my local shop because they were cool, and he had them on the shelf. And so yeah, I do wonder what's gonna like. Are they just gonna keep? That's the other thing too, is because these new crew boxes. So for example, the new crew boxes. Let's say you're playing Cawdor here. So these are like the religious zealot gang. So the new Cawdor crew box is going to have this box in it, plus also the Redemptionist box in it, which is this one. So it's $53 and $53. And if the thing is to be believed, you're also going to get the weapon upgrade sprue, which costs like $32. There must be one. Paladite, Sun Mortalis, Ash Wastes, Ironhead. I wonder if it's sold out. I swear there's a Cawdor one. Asher Champions. Well, anyway, so yeah, you're going to basically get that stuff. You're going to get 2 boxes. I mean, the boxes probably won't be in the boxes because that'd be weird. But you'll get sprues for the regular thing, and then the Redemptionist as an example, and then the Cawdor upgrade sprue or whatever. So, like that's a good setup and going to get you along to start. That's cool, but I don't know. That is my favorite new cover of your books. Up till this, it was Death Wizards. Nice. Yeah, the artist Darius Kilisek is just, we're really lucky to be able to work with him. They stated the Orc Codex paper is also thicker. Looks like they're trying to make 40K more transport friendly. Well, I mean, they're pushing real hard for everybody to play it in tournaments and stuff like that. So yeah. Still have my OG Mordheim stuff in a box here somewhere. Nice. Surprisingly, ring spiral bounding used to be the cheaper option for small publishers, but now it's more expensive than perfect binding. Yeah, like the company that we go through for our books, we can't get not spiral. Well, I don't think we can get spiral bound either, but we also can't get saddle stitch. So saddle stitch is, think like comic books. Do I have anything saddle stitch in here? Oh yeah. So like the zines that we do, should be technically done in what's known as saddle stitch, which means it's it's folded paper, right? You fold these things. It's 8.5 by 11. You fold it down to 5.25 by 8.5, but then you fold it, and then there's staple. That's what saddle stitch is. The company that we work with used to do saddle stitch, and they stopped because evidently the saddle stitch machine is a real jerk. It's very fussy and has a tendency to evidently jam or something, and so they stopped using it. I got into Necromunda because of the terrain. Yeah, the terrain is great. I've got two 1 foot by 1 foot, like half finished, like mostly painted, but there's other details and stuff I need to finish in painting. But two of the 1 foot by 1 foot Zone Mortalis tiles. I have a third Zone Mortalis tile half built, but I need to add some more stuff to it. And then what I really want is by the end of summer, I want to have 4 of them done, so that I can at least do a 2x2 board for like Space Weirdos and stuff like that, or even 200-point games of Grimdark Future Firefight. Technically, they say you should play it on 3x3, but I can do what I want. But yeah. OPR Gang War is more to my liking than Necromunda, less rule bloat. Yeah, I get that. My current project is my Metal Amazon Blood Bowl team. Nice. Did you see the new preview for Necromunda? The models look like nicer sculpts. It also looked like they turned it into Kill Team. I don't know about the Kill Team thing. We'll see. That's another thing too. God, I really hope that they don't decide to make the army building like Kill Team. That would completely suck. Ashers with all mohawks is not interesting. One might be cool, maybe two, but a whole army looking like they went to Mike Brooks' hairstylist just seems tedious. I mean, it seems like a lot of work, really. To be honest, 8th edition 40K was really streamlined. To me, they hit the sweet spot with that, and everything went south of the border again. Yeah, 8th edition was pretty cool, like when it first launched, and then it just kind of went a little, well, I don't know. Just don't want a whole army with an extreme hairstyle. I mean, I guess you could shave it off. You could cut it, so they're all bald. That'd be kind of cool. 1980s cyberpunk future was all full of mohawks. Maybe there was like a special technological machine that could do your mohawk for you. As nervous I am as about Necromunda, no one can deny the current rulebook needs reorganization at least. The rules are so fun, but they are an impenetrable, disorganized mess. True. Blitzbowl mods on Tabletop Simulator survive the purge. Well, that's good. I've had Space Station 0 for almost a year now, but never had the right scatter terrain I felt. Just got some printed up, so I'm ready to go. Cool. Very cool. I've given up buying GW with current prices. After all, I have several unpainted boxes as well, so no buying. No, it makes sense. I mean, that's the thing. If you have plenty of stuff, then there's no reason to buy new stuff if you've got stuff to paint right now. You know what I mean? Ursula Creed, tactical rocks make models very expensive these days. I don't think it's that. I think it's just the same situation where they're like, oh, well, I mean, she's a leader, so you only need one of her, so we got to charge more. And I'm like, but she's the same. It's the same amount of plastic, like that's, yeah. Used to be 20 Canadians for $28.65 or 75 cents. Well, I mean, gas used to be a nickel too, I suppose, but yeah. But it's like, things have gone up drastically over the last 5 years, but then you got the pandemic and all that stuff in there, and I get it. I'm not into it, especially when you can compare it to so many other things out there and go, oh wow, why are these so much cheaper? And then people are like, well, it's because of the detail, and it's like they're the best models in the world. And I'm like, well, then I guess you've got to get used to paying the most money in the world for the best models in the world. I would like some models that are pretty cool that I like and I actually enjoy building more, and I would like to pay less for them, please. Yes to all the miniature kits mentioned, Wargames Atlantic, Frostgrave, etc., and I'll add some of the Dungeons and Lasers kits. I've not tried the Townsfolk or the Skeletons, but I have Dungeons and Lasers Parasites? I think they're called Parasites. I have some of those guys, and they're pretty cool. Justicars, Judicars, something like, yeah. I understand centerpiece models costing more, but $48 for a single human-sized model is straight up taking the piss. They're doing it all the time. Like, most of their new single models are pretty much like, if you go into, I don't know, let's go look at Space Marines. Shop all Space Marines. That should be easy. So this librarian is $42, and this captain in Gravis armor, who's been around since 8th edition, I'm pretty sure, is $43. This ancient's $43, $43, $43, 42, 42. This guy's only 39. It's like a sale. So why is this ancient and Terminator armor $47 and that lady's 48? Like, she doesn't even have a big honking banner. Like, she's like physically a considerable less amount of plastic. It's just weird. These guys are getting up near that price. Chaplain on a bike is 90. Well, that makes sense because he's on a bicycle. Oh, here we go. Azrael, he's $48. Castellan Crow, $48. Yeah, it's just, it's nuts. Good day from Belgium. Painting a little star grave in 5 parsecs. Nice. And also the upgrade sprue. Yep. I just used the cutter weapon set to give a bunch of orcs hammers. Nice. So yeah, if that was the case, if it was $53 plus $53 plus $32, that is $40. No, that's not true. It's like 106 plus 32, so that comes out to 138. I might have done that right in my head. So if it's more than $138, then we'll know a little bit, won't we? GW is making most of the Wargames Hero Hammer. This trend of insane prices for single models is just starting. Yeah. My Frostgrave boxes are piling up, so I clipped everything off the sprues and then put them in dollar store jewelry bits box according to type. It's sort of fun to grab random bits and make a figure. Yeah, I could see that. I've done that in the past with certain pieces, but with a lot of stuff, especially with GW stuff now, I don't want to put all the bits into a thing because I'm not going to know. Like, their stuff has become so, like, it has to go together this one way. You know, like with like Stargrave, Frostgrave, etc., it's like heads, arms, torsos attached to legs, pouches. It's easy. But when you're like, this guy's leg, like this guy from the waist down is 4 parts. I need to keep those parts together so that I can put them together properly. So it's honestly, it's becoming very difficult, I think, to do kit bashing with newer GW models because they've broken them into so many subparts and stuff like that. People that I've been seeing doing it here and there more often than not build the model and then start cutting it apart. Which, is that necessary? Well, my Frostgrave boxes are piling. I just read that. Sorry. Happy to join the live show this afternoon. Wishing everyone well. I hope you're doing as well. Hope you're doing well as well, Simon. Buy 2 Necromunda boxes for $53, 106, then use OPR Gang Wars for free. OPR Gang Wars is maybe $5, but still. Protest with your wallets and GW will get the message. You're not wrong. It's just that it seems like a lot of people don't get that. I see so many people who complain about Games Workshop constantly online, but yet they still buy the stuff. Like I said, I bought some Necromunda recently, but it was partially just because I'm like, I think the price is going to go up pretty soon because they're going to do all this stuff. And I was, and they were there on the shelf at my friend's store. And I was like, okay. But in general, like, I don't have the Armageddon box. I'm trying to think of the last time. It's been almost a year since GW has sent me anything because they've really kind of changed the way that they're working with their creator people and stuff like that. So that's all kind of changed. And I'm fine with that for the most part. You know what I mean? They haven't really put anything out that I even wanted in a long time. There's been a couple of kill teams. The one with the Oh gosh, what are they? They're like the weird zealots. I think, are they called zealots? I don't know what they're called. More other games. Kill Team. Shop all. Wait, why is this in the what? None of this stuff should be in the Kill Team section. What the heck? Results for what? Okay, let me try this again. More other games. Warhammer 40K. Kill Team. Shop all. $7 billion market cap. Jesus. Anyway, nope. These guys, the Sanctifiers, these guys are pretty cool. I think I bought a second box of these guys last year. But yeah. The guys, the Imperial Guard guys that come in the new box where you're fighting against, which of course they don't have in stock, and well, on the website's not showing it. There's that box where it's like a bunch of like Imperial Guard guys with big cloaks and they're fighting against mainly one big Tyrannid. I'm looking forward to when the Imperial Guard cloak guys come out. I might pull the trigger, but they also might be $75, and I'll be like, do I really need that? Not really, no. So we'll see how it goes. Indie games are far better now than GW. Even 10mm scale games from GW is terrible. Just look at Drop Zone Commander from TT Combat. This game is incredible. Yeah, there was a Drop Zone Commander at, no, Drop Fleet. Sorry, there's Drop Fleet Commander at TMX. Jesse was running it at TMX. Had a good time with it. Most indie tabletop companies are giving the rules for free, and their games are way more stable, durable than GW 4 years circle ones. 3 years, technically. Yeah, the GW normal price, or the normal cycle is 3 years, not 4. Yeah, it's kind of nuts. If they make Necromunda like Kill Team without all the options, campaign, funds, upgrades, it won't be Necromunda anymore. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna. That would be a pretty drastic change. That wouldn't, in my mind, be streamlining. The reason that they keep saying streamlining and tweaking is because I literally believe they're not making that big of a change. 8th edition with indexes was the best 40K since 2nd edition. Hasn't been good since. Just finished up printing out some last Signal minis. Really looking forward to slapping some paint on them. Nice. I tried pushing an indie game night at the LGS, even offered to host. It went over like a lead balloon. Only one staff was into it. The thing is that it seems like one of the biggest issues, there are a couple with indie games, but one of them is also people that are just like, well, I can't get anybody to play. And I get it. I think that the trick about indie games is that it has to come from you playing with smaller groups to start, you playing with friends. It's not, you're not gonna be able to walk into your local shop or your local wargaming club and where everyone's playing 40K and they've been playing it for a long time and they're very invested in, there's a very sunk cost fallacy. You're not gonna be able to just go in there and be like, hey everybody, let's play this weird game with a bunch of cultists and strange stuff with a purple cover. It's called Repent Ye Foolish Gods. Let's everybody jump on that, because you're not gonna get that. But if you can convince a friend to play and then maybe build up from there. I think the problem is that people the thing that I see online is people are like, well, how is anything ever going to compete with Games Workshop? And my answer is, why would you bother? Like, just let that go. Let them do what they're going to do. The people who love that stuff, more power to them. I want them to have a good time. You know what I mean? But it's not a situation where you're going to turn a switch and flip everybody in your local area into this other game. You're going to play. And here's the deal too. If I'm perfectly honest, our games are not comparable to Games Workshop, obviously. But what I mean by that is Games Workshop is a lifestyle. Like, they are pushing that as an entire ecosystem, right? We don't. That's why we make a new game every year. Because if you don't necessarily want to play this one, maybe you'll want to play the next one. And they are not like, this is my new game that I spend all my time on. It's like a novel. Every one of our games is like a novel. You'll read the novel, have a good time with it, and be like, wow, that was cool. And, in this situation, if we like turn that into gaming, that means you played through a campaign. Yeah, that's cool. You had a good time. It told a story. It was emergent, narrative and all this kind of stuff. Cool. And now you put it on a shelf. And then maybe you come back and do it again later on if you're interested. But if you didn't, well, it was 20, maybe $22 maximum. And hopefully you used a bunch of models you already had or stuff that you've been interested in anyway. It's not like, oh, well, you're going to need to build an army. You're going to need to do this. You're going to want to read a bunch of lore. You're going to have a whole bunch of books. And you're investing a lot more of yourself and your personality into a big ecosystem game like Warhammer, or like a lot of them, like War Machine, like a lot of those games. But you don't BattleTech, you know what I mean? But like a game like stuff that we do, Flames of Orion, Space Weirdos, Planet 28, even 5 Parsecs, even Blackout. They're not necessarily, Blackout's not super into campaigns, so that's slightly different. It's a little bit more about just like playing games and having a good time. I don't know. I guess there might be a campaign. I've never come across it in Blackout, but there might be. But again, it's one of those situations where it's not meant to be the new big thing. It's a thing that you play for a bit. I listen to this podcast called the Hive Scum podcast. It's really good. And what they do sometimes, and I understand this and I think it's a good idea, rather than like one person goes, oh man, I think we should play this game. And another person's like, oh, I went all in on this game. And everyone's just like, there's so many different games. What their play group does is they set basically like a season. They're like, all right, we're going to be playing Age of Fantasy Regiments for the next 2 months. That's what we'll do. So everybody knows that there's a target that they can aim for. So they know this is coming and we're going to play that and that's what we'll play. And then after that's 2 months is up and we're done playing, now we're going to play something else maybe. And we might come back to regiments at some point, Age of Fantasy Regiments or whatever. But the idea of saying, like if it was like Sam and I, hey, we're going to play, Trench Crusade until October 1st. And then after that, then we're going to switch over and we're going to play Grimdark Future Firefight or, Necromunda or I don't know, whatever. But having that kind of like almost like here's a season in which our small play group does this, then you don't have to be like, oh God, this can't be the new game that we play all the time. Well, no, we're just going to play it until this date, and then we'll play a different game. And I think moving around and hopping around between different games also just makes a lot of sense. If you just put all of your eggs into one basket, then you end up paying $48 for a miniature, and then you go, well, but I have to because I need that guy for my army. Well, so anyway, let's see here. GW pricing is the single biggest justification for 3D printing. Yeah, to some degree. GW rules trashed every 4 years is the main reason I'm not into GW anymore. I mean, but except that it's 3 years. On the point on why character minis cost more, the mold is still cost the same, but not as many will need that many. And if they have a goal for X minis to cover costs, the mold doesn't cost the same as the 10 guys in, because it's a much considerably smaller mold. So the mold should not cost the same as a mold or multiple molds, because like every one of those single characters is a single at least two-part mold, right? Because you're getting a single sprue in that thing. Every once in a great while, some of those have got 2 sprues, but it's pretty rare. Most of them have 1 sprue. And, when we were looking at the sprue, it was just the 1 sprue. Whereas I bet there's at least 2 sprues in the box for the regular, the Cadians. So that doesn't... But the whole concept of like, well, you're going to buy less of them, so therefore we have to charge considerably more. That's a hard push. You know what I mean? Maybe then figure something out different than that. Like, I just, the whole concept of like, well, we have to charge this much because people only need 1, whereas they need a lot of these. That's kind of the story that's been going on for a long time. And I don't know why that's the player's fault, right? You know what I mean? Like if they were smart, maybe they would throw her in to another box. Now, admittedly, you might then get a bunch of them, but then maybe just don't make so many named characters that need to be this expensive. But on the other hand, if you do, you can charge 48 bucks for them. So there's that too. I get that a single model you can only take of costing because it does a budget and make a street mold, steel mold, but it is beyond the pale. I agree. Yeah. So absolutely incredibly hyped for those Exodites. I don't know anything about them. I'm like, so it's Eldar on dinosaurs? Is that a thing? Because initially I thought it was a fantasy thing, but I'm like, does that guy have a gun? And then I'm like, yeah, I'm not an Eldar fan, so I don't keep up with all of their shenanigans. Let's see here. Brand new Vallejo True Metallic Metal paints are incredible. Oh, neat. I think Vince was using some of those on his video Saturday. He's painting a Blood Angel. Did a kind of cool metallic. As much as I hate to defend GW, Creed's price makes sense in a way. Molds cost $10,000 and she's a model from a specific single fact. Again, like I said, her mold doesn't cost as much as the Cadian mold, because the Cadian mold would be at least 2 molds. Hers is 1 and also physically smaller. But economics class teaches that a price is based on production cost plus 5 to 10%. In reality, it's based on market research determining the maximum people are willing to buy. I mean, that's the thing too. If like they keep doing it because people keep buying it. So that's also a problem. I don't think that's right. And I think it's dumb that people are willing to buy them, but there you go. I'm just playing online these days. GW ain't getting my money. Last thing I bought was the release of 8th. Gotcha. Are you playing on Tabletop Simulator? Because I might have some bad news for you. A bunch of the Tabletop Simulator GW stuff has been taken down with cease and desist recently. From something that I saw online and reiterated by some of the folks here in the chat. I buy a few things from GW here and there, but I keep it pretty light these days. I haven't played 40K since 7th edition. I skipped this edition of Age of Sigmar. I really only buy and play Blood Bowl these days. Gotcha. Blood Bowl's got a very strong audience, I think, for a game that's very unique. You know what I mean? Painting up Custodes Captain Valerian for a competition. Nice. Big monsters and vehicles are the new kill team thing. Yeah, I could see that. We had a guy go off on us on our stream because we aren't immediately negative enough on the Necro edition and said it was because we were getting product from GW. Like, you have no idea how GW works now. Yeah. Again, the amount of information they've put out is not enough to scream and yell about in my opinion. They basically were like, we're going to make an update. We're not telling you anything about it other than it is streamlined and tweaked. Here's some new books. They're kind of implying that there will be fewer books and it won't be you need a book for every stupid gang. We'll see how long that lasts, but that's maybe a good thing. Yeah, I don't know. I just, at this point, we don't have enough information for me to get all ticked off about it. I'm slightly optimistic, cautiously slightly optimistic, maybe. I don't know. I think they are in the kill team section because they introduced the new mods with the big monster. I think it's just an error because when I clicked on it, it just says results for, and then it has like a weird quote, and I don't know why it would do that. They introduced a new mode with one big monster versus a regular team. Oh, like that thing with the big Tyranid dude. I guess that's a possibility. Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe they're like, oh yeah, a person totally wants to buy 2 of these War Dog things for $100 so they can use one of them and then fight against it. Lord. Anyway, isn't there going to be a new edition? There's going to be a new edition of Kill Team next summer, isn't there? I think so. Greetings from sun-scorched Warsaw. After months of watching, I finally managed to catch a live stream. Listening to you makes the work of sculpting terrain files even more enjoyable. Well, I'm glad to hear that, Hexbrick. Dominus box was great. I swapped my Marines for Necrons. Nice. Looks like the topic of the day is GW costs. We kind of headed in that direction. We were talking about Necromunda. We've talked about a bunch of different things, but that's where we're at kind of right now a little bit. Winged babies with giant forks are pretty neat. I mean, you're not wrong. Sanctifier's minis are begging for a bland Shih Tzu paint jobby. Oh, yeah. The one that's like the lady who's sort of hovering and she's got her hands kind of like, like this sort of, and she's wearing like a light dress. I'm totally going to get rid of both of those hands and give her pistols. I think that'd be a hoot. I also feel like I'm in a weird little minority. I recognize GW is expensive, but I like their stuff and also like lots of other things. Community feels more and more like you're with GW or against. I mean, you don't have to be for certain. You know what I mean? I think if you're everybody's like how much they're willing to spend on their hobby is obviously completely up to you. There are other problems that I have with Games Workshop besides just price these days, admittedly, but it is what it is. Again, if I really like Necromunda, then I will probably play it. Now, that being said, I also already have a bunch of the model kits because I've been buying them for kit bashing purposes for years. I might have to buy something because I might be like, wow, I don't have any more left arms or whatever. I don't know. Well, probably would be more likely right arms because that's usually where the gun is. But you see what I'm saying. So, I just wish that the most expensive, it's like if it's like in photography, like the most expensive camera companies are Leica and Hasselblad. And if it was only Leica and Hasselblad that people use to get into photography with, that would be a real problem. You know what I mean? It would be a situation where you'd be like, man, I really want to get into photography, but that camera from Leica is like $6,000. And you're like, you can get a camera for like $1,000, right? Or even less. And they're like, yeah, but it's not the most popular. And you're like, okay, well, So yeah, I guess that's maybe kind of part of the problem. I always wanted a full Gaunt's Ghost support. There was a Gaunt's Ghost set, wasn't there? Do your neighbors know you're a legend in the miniatures world? I don't know about legend. One of the neighbors across the street, well, actually, there's two neighbors across the street that do know that I'm on YouTube. Younger folks. The older folks that live on both sides of me, they have no idea. But that's fine. Let's see here. New Warhammer Academy they announced really drives home the idea that Warhammer is a lifestyle. Sure. I mean, that's what they've been pushing for years. I get it. All that to be said, I didn't look deeply into the Warhammer Academy thing, but I have been saying for years that they need something that helps to onboard new people. Now, I think it could have been a PDF. I think this meeting could have been an email, but because people all the time were always like, so if I wanted to get into Warhammer 40K, how many of these books do I have to buy? Because Games Workshop kind of wouldn't tell you, right? There was nothing on the website that was very distinct and said, you need this book. You don't necessarily need this book unless you want to do this. And, and this is maybe back a couple of editions ago when you need like 4 or 5 books just to play the game, right? Like, do I need Psychic Awakening? Well, yes, but also no. So it sounds like the Academy is going to focus a bit more on the hobby, but hopefully there's some part of it that focuses on, if you want to start playing, here's what you should do. The fact that they're not pushing Combat Patrol seems also kind of weird because Combat Patrol, at least in the last edition, was the whole point of it was to get you into playing regular Warhammer. Combat Patrol is still around, and they made that weird book, the Combat Patrol Compendium, which is just basically a bunch of hobby stuff and some fluff. I don't get that, but yeah, like, I don't know. And now that all the Combat Patrol PDFs are gone off the website, and now you have to go to the app, but they're not all in there now. And so that's been, I don't know. They've done strange things with, it's like they gave up on Combat Patrol, kind of, or they're just going to let it war cry off into the distance. So it's weird. I do think GW's pushing horrific market practices and buying from them supports a practical monopoly. I wouldn't. Monopoly is a tough a tough sell, in my opinion. I'm against monopolies, but I don't think the government should tell them to cut it out. That's like the government saying, hey, it's illegal that Coca-Cola keeps selling so much of the Coca-Cola and nobody else can sell Coca-Cola. There's other things to drink. There's other sodas. You know what I mean? There's other war games out there. I don't know that these guys are a monopoly in the legal sense, but yeah. Hello from Poland, 41 degrees Celsius and melting. That's no fun. No one should be living in 105. To be fair, I'm much more in camp lifestyle games. If you're asking me to paint minis, that means I'm already making a significant investment, so I want a lot in return, not to do that again next year. See, that's the thing. I want to be painting miniatures all the time. I don't want to just be like, I have to paint these miniatures and now I'm done painting miniatures because I've got my army. I want to be painting war bands all the time. That's why I love skirmish games. So I want to paint some stuff for this that I can use in 3 or 4 different games because they're miniature agnostic. But then I'm going to do some of these. I'm going to do some of these. I'm going to do some of these. I enjoy painting, so I want to continue to paint. If it was a situation where like I'm going to paint this army and once I'm done, I'm not painting anymore, for the most part, I don't want to go down that road personally. For me, the lifestyle is miniature games, not a specific miniature game. I have the good fortune to be associated with a 30-year-old club. I was thinking it was a club for 30-year-olds, but I'm rethinking that. It's probably a club that's been around for 30 years. It's early. I mean, it's 10:45. That does not play any GW games. Wow. Okay. So finding some games willing to try odd indie stuff, as long as you can run it, is not a problem. That is very cool. And that's the big benefit to doing co-op stuff too, because it's way easier I find it's way easier to teach someone when we're playing co-op than when we're playing against each other. Because if I know how to play and you don't, and I'm teaching you, it can become difficult when you are like, when I don't know how to play, but I'm having to fight you off who does know how to play. But when we're playing as a co-op thing, I'm like, you and me, we're going to kick this, AI's butt. And that's, I think, a lot easier of an ask. It's a lot easier to teach people that way. The Prodigal Uncle returns. Ooh, getting from hot and humid Cleveland. Yeah, I'm about to head over I'm going to be in Cleveland tomorrow, actually. Staying indoors to finish up some painting Trench Crusade troops. Make your thing, make your contribution. Don't worry about what GW or anyone else is doing. Frex. Frex. I don't know what Frex means. Makes it better, but same for learning rules, learning lore. Yeah, well, I mean, I stay away from lore for the most part anyway. I'm not interested in the lore of most games. Not looking to jump novel every season. Want to get in and stay in. See, that's not for me. I mean, different strokes, different folks for sure. But for me, yeah, I've got no interest in just playing one game. It'd be like just playing one video game for me. You know what I mean? What guard player is going to buy multiple Ursula kits? We buy 3 of everything. I mean, maybe if you wanted to sculpt, like if you wanted to, well, one with helmet on and one with helmet off. I don't know. Maybe not. Exodites are the Eldari equivalent of the Amish. I get you. I see what you're saying. See, the thing that's interesting about that is that means that they should be on electric bikes. Vince has been telling me that when he and his wife go to this bed and breakfast once in a while, and it's kind of in Amish country in Ohio somewhere, I don't know where, but he's like, just recently, like I haven't talked to him since he's been back from his most recent trip, because his most recent trip was like this week. And so we're going to have a meeting tonight, like we do on Sunday nights. But the last time that he went, he and his wife, he said, all the Amish folks in that community are now on e-bikes. I'm like, well, that seems weird. He's like, yeah, I don't know what happened, but evidently there was some sort of rule and they decided, yep, e-bikes are just fine. So he's like, everyone's on an e-bike, like with the straw hat and the beard and okay. I mean, that's cool. Exodites have been a thing since Rogue Trader? Okay. Yeah, like I said, I've never been an Eldar guy, so I don't know jack about him. Eldar and dinosaurs are a thing from way back. That's cool. Tabletop Simulator stuff has been taken down, but also is back already. I mean, I guess that doesn't surprise me either, I suppose. The only thing that's keeping me from buying is the amount of backlog I already have. But yes, in that sense, the price is prohibitive for new folks into the scene. Oh, for sure. Yeah. Disappointed with the Necromunda news, but we'll see. Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I'm I don't know that I'm, I was going to say necropointed. That's not a word. I don't know that I'm disappointed. Like I said, very cautiously optimistic or very cautiously wait and see. I don't know. How badly they monetize the books and how the rules turn out is going to determine how our group handles it. Makes sense. Yeah. Too much energy to get worked up about stuff on the on the internet anymore, for sure. People are far too focused on delivering the next hot take. True. Sabbath World's Crusade book they announced still isn't showing on the US site. I don't know what that is. I don't know what the Sabbath Worlds is. I play Old World, but with 5th edition. Nice. Pistol hands or pistols instead of hands? Probably with hands. Like, I don't know where I'm going to find, because her hands are in a weird pose. So I'm going to have to basically cut here and then find pistol hands or a pistol and a sword, maybe. Anyway, and then maybe try to, like, in a perfect world, I could smooth it out so it doesn't look like I did that, but I might have to put, like, I don't know, jewelry on her or something like that to cover up the join. Haven't been watching the stream or anything. Where's Nick? Oh, he's right back there. Yep, that's him, the blue, light blue thing back there. My wife is out of town this weekend. She gets back sometime this afternoon or this evening. She's had a bunch of gigs lately, but that's not this weekend. She's out with her lady friends, and they're doing a ladies' weekend. So Nick and I and the cats have all been here. Do people have recommendations for naval war games? Anything from Age of Sail to modern day Star Wars, whatever. I know that JP Got Rockets does. Yes, you responded. So there we go. Still amazed Squidmar beat GW to having a show about a competition painting miniatures. Yeah, I wonder if that seems like too much for GW. I don't know. It's a good question. My group jumped into Horus Heresy way back in 1st edition. I made a PDF outlining what was actually needed, good starting places, etc. It's crazy GW doesn't do that. Yeah, especially if they want, well, part of me believes it's because they want you to buy stuff you don't actually need. If they made it very clear you need this and this and this, then you wouldn't accidentally buy this book as well. It's unkind, but it's kind of like when I frankly, honestly think that the marketing teams in video games do that all the time. Like the idea about, like, if your grandma goes to the store to get you an Xbox for Christmas, it's real hard to tell which one because they all sound the same. It's the Xbox. What's the Xbox One? It's the Xbox Series S. X? What? I mean, whereas if you tell grandma I need a PlayStation 5, you're going to hopefully get a PlayStation 5 and not a 4 or a 3 or a 2, you know what I mean? And so, I don't know. I think sometimes marketing can be tweaked that way and they don't teach that in schools, but sometimes it's just like, well, we'll see if it works. I don't know. It's hard to say. Otherwise, I don't know why you would make things so difficult. Why would you make it so difficult? Your average person who just played, finished the campaign in Space Marine 2 and is like, you know what? I think I want to play 40K. That sounds like a lot of fun. Try and get them to figure out how to do it without having to go to YouTube and have somebody else tell them how to do it, who may or may not be right. You know what I mean? Good afternoon from hot and breezy North Wales. Kit bashing some Wargames Atlantic Bulldogs and Anvil Industry Gothic Void helmets right now. Nice. This is what guided tutorials in a tabletop simulator-like setting would be great for. Yeah. If GW is smart, they use Combat Patrol to get people to start new armies. That was what they did in 10th. That was the whole idea. But Monopoly is a tough sell in a legal sense, but you know what I mean. They hold too much sway for a fully healthy market. I'm not a capitalist, frankly. I'm not. I don't swing that way. But don't. I just don't feel. I feel that partially what they're doing is they're just being very smart about it. They're doing a lot of licensing. They got the video games, they got the books, they got Marvel Comics, although not recently, but they have in the past. They did. There was the Marnius Calgar one, and I think there was one about Sisters of Battle and stuff like that. And those were super cool, and that's great, and all that kind of stuff. But they put so much out there that there's a lot of people that just and this is something they're actively trying to do. When you think wargaming, you should think Warhammer. When you think the hobby, you shouldn't think about anything but Space Marines and all that kind of stuff. That's what they're trying to do. And it's them being smart, at least in that aspect. But I don't think personally, I don't see it as being like, I don't think that they can actively be like, well, we're going to stop this company from making their game that is completely unlike our game. Like if they were all of a sudden like, we're going to somehow try to destroy War Machine from Steamforged Games, there's not like, it seems unlikely, right? Like they're not, if people are buying Warhammer over War Machine, it's because they like Warhammer more than they like War Machine. And I don't see that as being a monopoly. If it was like a choice of like, they started telling stores, if you carry War Machine and you can't carry our game, that would be a different story altogether. But they don't seem to do that. They will definitely, if you are a new store, they will say, this is all the stuff that you have to buy to be able to get a contract with us. They don't just go, oh yeah, you can buy a little bit of stuff and put some stuff in the corner of your brand new fledgling store. There's a definite like jump. And sure, they'll throw in a case or two, like the racks and stuff like that. And most companies do that. But yeah, I don't know. I still don't think monopoly. I see people throw that word around, and I don't feel like it actually affects here. Do you think it would be hilarious if the government does? Well, first of all, it would be the English government. Does the English government even deal with monopoly stuff? I know our government doesn't do that anymore because that's not cool, man, or something. I don't know. It happened with Reagan, but I don't know what happened about. I don't know what goes on over in England. Excited at all for XCOM? Interested to see the models. Public service, keep hydrated. Oh yeah, for sure. Just had a kidney stone and would only wish it on my worst enemy if I had one. Ooh. Been gaming with the same guy since '82. Nice. Best to start to miniature agnostic games is to already have some minis, and that's how GW is helping the indie designers. It's win-win. I mean, in some situations, I mean, certainly like in Space Station Zero, our second game back in 22, if you've got Tau, they would be a great, I mean, if you've got Tau, Space Marines, there's a lot of different forces that could work well as your crew for your ship when you end up on the space station. And then you need some kind of robots, which you could use Necrons for that. But there's lots of different things you could use for robots. And you kind of need some sort of like weird mutants. And there's lots of different models you could use for weird mutants. But if you've already got some of that stuff because you've played, GW in the past, it'll work fine. Death Wizards, like if you've got skeletons and ghosts and like, all that normal stuff, like GW has been trying to sort of tweak it so they're not like normal skeletons, but they're obviously GW skeletons, and they kind of do that stuff. And the more they tweak that stuff, the lesser and less it seems like normal, like, fantasy tropes. So that's maybe a little bit of an issue if you're trying to, but it's up to you. And again, you could play with coins. You can play whatever you want. I'm not going to stop you. Yeah, that's the thing about miniature games is you can play with what you want. Anything GW does is simply for profit/money. I mean, they're a corporation, so yeah. I mean, they're publicly held, so they've got shareholders and stuff like that. Like the stuff that Vince and I do, we would like to make money, but it's not the main reason. Partially, we do it because we love doing it. Well, more than partially, but We also have day jobs. Well, I mean, Vince has a day job. I do this, and then also the game company, and then also the stuff that I do working with the folks at Army Painter. So I have 3 jobs. Vince has 3 jobs. He has his normal day job, and then he has his YouTube channel, and then he has, the game company. So if both of us had to live off of game company only, that wouldn't work. So yeah, that's not the case. I just think, frankly, tabletop gaming needs more people to make games that are not expecting to live off of them. I like seeing stuff like that, the weird and the strange and the fun that you do without going, I just don't know if this is going to make us enough ROI on this, Q3 report or whatever. That's where you get Games Workshop, and I want more companies. And admittedly, they're going to be smaller, obviously, but that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. That's why I like the indie. Frex means for example. Oh, okay, from before. Gotcha. I did not know that. Amish can use solar as it's not tied into the grid. Huh, it's weird. The e-bike thing still, so if it's an e-bike that you charged with solar, then it's fine. But what about your cell phone? Couldn't you have a cell phone that you could charge with solar? They may be Mennonites. Mennonites always sounds like a metal. You know what I mean? Like, oh, this whole region is got veins of Mennonite all over the place. You can dig it up. But I know it's a people. The only way Games Workshop gets away with those prices is because they are running a pay-to-win racket. Sure. I mean, I've seen a lot of people in the competitive scene who mention stuff like that, but I haven't really played all that kind of stuff too much. I mean, I haven't done competitive stuff in a long time. If I ever played in competitive 40K, I don't know if I've ever played in there was one time I played like a game at an event, kind of a small tournament at a store. There's an ant crawling across my screen. You're a real small one. Go away, buddy. Well, whatever. Anyway. It's like how every console is a Nintendo to your grandma. Sure. Yeah, exactly. Starting taking some of my games and miniatures to Noble Knight Games, and you get money or store credit. Great way to get money on some stuff that you want. Yeah. Play with coins. Isn't the Central Gaming Authority going to come? I mean, it might. Mini agnostic games are a great way to get a game and use what you have painted already. Yeah. I like either being able to use stuff that I already have, or go, oh, cool, I can make a new group of guys that I've wanted to always out of this stuff that I never had a use for. Or, like I said, it just helps to then go, well, I know I can use them for this, but I can also use them for that. Like all of these Human Defense Force guys that I'm going to be working on, I'm going to be using them for Grimdark Future Firefight, obviously, but I could also use them for Space Station Zero. I could use them for Space Weirdos. I could use them for 5 Parsecs. I could use them for tons of different games because they're basically just like human sci-fi soldiers. So they would work great for that. Could use them for Stargrave. Yeah, all kinds of stuff. Amish also use cell phones because there's no cord. Weird. The Amish folks that are at the farmers market, they don't make a peanut butter cookie that's up to my standards. It's sad. I bought some peanut butter cookies from them 2 weeks ago. It was like a little pack of 3 of them, and I brought them home, and they were like, they were okay, but they weren't great. I've been on a search for really good peanut butter cookies. Currently, cost benefit analysis, the best ones I can get in town regularly and don't cost too much are actually at the Quick Trip convenience store. They're actually surprisingly good. You get like a pack of 4 of them for like, I don't know, $2.50 or $3 or something like that. That's pretty good. They're a good size. Anyway, there. Now I've gotten the peanut butter cookie report finished, and so I think it's time for us to end today's stream because it's 11 o'clock. And I have to put stuff in the dryer, and I have to finish editing my video, and I have to edit the podcast, and I have to make a video for the podcast, which admittedly doesn't take that much time. That last part. And I already gave Diesel, or not Diesel, jeez. I already gave Carlson his pill, so that's taken care of. Usually my wife does that, but that's already good. I had breakfast. Yeah, I think I got my day is going to be full. I wish I had more time for hobbying today, but I got too much other stuff to get out. So we'll see you folks again soon. Thank you for coming by and hanging out. I appreciate it. Glad to see some folks come back after my kind of long hiatus. I'll be back on normal schedule now for quite some time, like I said. So I'll be back here again in 2 weeks. I'll be in Ohio most of this week at the D&D in a castle, and I'll be teaching people how to paint miniatures and such, I guess. So that'll be fun. Yeah. And we'll see some of you folks, again, won't be streaming on Twitch on Monday, which is tomorrow, but I will be on Friday again once I get back. So there you go. So if you get the chance, do some hobby, you know, and if you don't, that's okay. Don't beat yourself up about it. And stay safe. Have yourselves good rest of the weekend or a good beginning part to the week, depending on where you live. And thanks for watching.